Hello, friends. Welcome back again for another discussion of the legacy of Brian Wilson. I'm about to call up my friend Jamie, but it's a hot, sticky day and I can't seem to remember his number. I sat and concentrated on the number and I dug through my pocketbook looking for it. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I sharpened up a pencil and I'm just about to write a letter to my friend. So uh, I'll just write a letter to Jamie right now, and then in a couple weeks he'll write me back, and I'll read his letter. Too bad we didn't have something like Zoom, isn't it? Wait a minute.
Oops,
Oh, that looks like Jamie Brewster right there.
that's that Alex from Tennessee.
Not
I've
quite,
just
but
opened
close
a
enough.
letter. I got a letter from my friend.
Oh.
Yeah, it was in the post box. It was down a drive. You turned left, then you took a gate. You turned right at the little road. It was a bumpy one. Then you took another one, and then there it was.
Oh, what do you know? That worked pretty well, you know? When you
It
think
did.
of the letter, all I can think of are the box tops, you know? Just give me a ticket for an airplane, that kind of thing. But I didn't need that. I could just mail it to you.
Well, the
Perfect.
Beach Boys did that too, didn't they?
Sure
They did
did.
a
Yeah.
cover. They did a
Laid
cover.
in Hawaii.
Laid in Hawaii for sure. Isn't that incredible? What an album it could have been.
You know, a
He's
lot
got
of
it.
people somewhere here, if I can find it, but some people don't like that one, and I
Yeah, I've
get
got
it.
it. I think I've got it somewhere up there.
There we go. Yep, I see yours up there on the top shelf.
Sure, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
no,
I know, I like all of it. Yeah, no, it's all great. Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool stuff. It's a good opportunity since, as our viewers know already, this is mostly going to be about Brian Wilson. Last week we covered several of his solo albums and a few Beach Boys albums too, of course, but Laid in Hawaii, Jamie, one of the few times we got to see Brian live with the group after he stopped touring, that sort of thing. So really cool that they got him to travel to Hawaii and he brought his organ with him.
yeah.
Did a lot of good stuff.
And I
So
loved Heroes and Villains on that. You know, it sounded great. I just loved that lovely arrangement. It was so, so great. Came out absolutely really, really well, I think.
and the odd thing about that recording was they had used that years earlier. It was one of the bonus tracks for the Live in London CD, which
Yeah, yeah.
it's a great recording, but it is kind of strange because it doesn't really fit with Live in
Doesn't
London
fit.
very well. It's a
Not
much,
really.
instead of the big orchestral, backing group sound, we get the stripped down organ sound.
Exactly,
Little,
exactly.
little,
You've got a great selection, Alex. A really good selection. And some of them are probably more easily available in the US than they are in the UK. We get slightly different versions, don't we? Often
yes,
in Europe.
that's true.
But anyway, yeah. So you're
So
doing okay. You're doing okay in the heat.
doing okay in the heat. Yep. Gonna be a long, hot summer, but that's okay.
And I can see your fan rotating there. Looks like you're going to take off any minute.
If it's distracting, I can just cover it up a little bit. Hopefully, my noisy air conditioner won't kick on either. You never know,
Exactly.
but
Haven't
it's no, no. Go ahead, Jamie.
loads of tributes coming in. They're constantly coming in, aren't they, Alex? From every time I look on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, there's more and more tributes to Brian
There
flooding in.
are, and some absolutely beautiful ones.
Mm.
Nova Yesai, the man who makes the Beach Boys like concert films and stuff, he did a brilliant one for Brian's back. I saw that.
Nice.
And all kinds of different artists. Jamie, do you remember, did we lose Sly Stone the same day we lost Brian
Yeah,
Wilson?
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
so and a
Yeah,
shout out to him too. His
definitely.
really only direct Beach Boys connection, yeah, that's right, set up,
Sure,
is
yeah.
their cover of Hot Fun in the Summertime, which Brian was not involved in, I don't think, but
I
definitely.
don't think he was involved in the album at all.
Yeah, other than a writing credit on Surfin', but that
Yeah,
doesn't, it's not direct involvement.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely a shout out to him as well.
for sure.
Another Family Stone, very good stuff. And
There it
we
is.
don't want to overshadow the loss of one great artist with the loss of another, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. So where do we go? Do we start off on looking at the album run because we got as far as I think we got as far as Orange Crate Art and the Andy Paley sessions,
Mhm.
um, and Eugene Landy was still involved with Brian, I think, around that time, wasn't he? But until there was a bit of a gap because then we had Imagination, didn't we? I'm trying to think of the sequence.
Okay. Yeah, so Brian Wilson, 88, that has Eugene Landy has a credit, executive producer, Dr. Eugene Landy. And I know that's been taken off of some
Yeah,
CD and vinyl versions. And then I think Landy had, probably doesn't still have, had a writing credit on maybe a couple of these songs. I think his girlfriend or wife, whoever at the time, I think she had some credits too. I'm assuming all of those have probably been
they've all
erased
been
by
taken off, I
now.
think. Yeah, and they were
Yeah,
probably half rubbish anyway. I mean, I think there was some. He did some terrible lyrics on a couple of the on a couple of his demos, and they were just gobbledygook, some of them. So he was a doctor, sort of doctor. So I mean, at the end of the day, he did get Brian, at boot camp, and he got his weight down. He did a huge amount for him on the positive side to get him back a little bit,
hmm
and to be able to do his solo album, and to be doing the Beach Boys '85 album and things like that. So there was definitely a lot of positivity, but it just went out of control, didn't it? It just,
It's
mm,
exactly right. I couldn't have said it better myself because, Landy is vilified rightfully in the Beach Boys community, but there
yeah,
are positives to that relationship as well. And sometimes we forget that. I know we get
yeah.
very angry at Dr. Landy, and,
Mm.
you know, he might have saved Brian's life.
I
So,
think so. I really do. He got his diet right. He got him exercising. He got him running. He got him out there swimming, boot camping, writing songs. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. So you mentioned Imagination. Mine's a promo copy. It has the weird gold stamp. For promotional use only, sale or other transfer is
okay.
prohibited. Must be
Okay.
returned to recording company. But wherever I bought this, I
So
forget where
you
I
haven't
got it.
returned it. There'll be a knock on the door next week.
Oh, I should have covered that up before I
Yeah,
showed you,
it'll be
shouldn't I?
ice will be coming to get you.
If you never see me again, you'll know why it was. It was
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Imagination CD right there. But
What an album.
I know I like that he went back and revisited so many older Beach Boys tunes. We have Sherry, She
Mm.
Needs Me, or she
Yeah,
says that she needs me in this case.
really good. Yeah.
Keep an Eye on Summer, Let 'Em
Hmm.
Run Wild. I
Yeah,
think those are the only ones that are direct Beach Boys adaptations.
I
I
think
feel like
so.
there's one
Yes.
more, but I don't think it's something else. So, but
Yeah, I think Let Him Run Wild was the only one I wasn't so knocked out about, really. The other two definitely were great inclusions. And, like I said to you, I think last week, is that, I'm always looking for the new songs from Brian. I'm always looking for the new gems. And yeah, there it is. But a great album. And it did quite well.
yeah, I think it did. And then I know Lay Down Burden, that became like a live staple
Yeah,
for him, that kind of stuff.
absolutely.
And I don't know that any of the other ones really did.
No, but there's such a nice variety on there, and I
Yeah.
like them all. I like them all, and he was pretty well on fire, and Joe Thomas was involved too, wasn't he? And they recorded it. I think they recorded in Chicago, near Chicago, didn't they? Didn't Brian? He moved house, didn't he? Near Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas is somewhere near Chicago, and I think they did a lot of recording over there.
Okay. Yeah, Joe Thomas does have a production credit,
Hmm.
but I don't know. The only addresses it gives are for Giant Records in New York and Warner Brothers Records, or Giant Records in Beverly Hills, excuse me. And then it looks like Warner Records in New York. But I don't know. They could have done that. I'm
Yeah,
not
I know
sure.
that Joe Thomas he was living over near Chicago in the snowy foothills of somewhere, lakes, and Brian bought a house next door, and I think Melinda wanted that, and they had a house there for a while in the flipping snow, bailing all the time. Do you have to bail? Do you bail a lot?
Um, Last winter I had to, but the
Did
one
you?
before I didn't. So
No.
it's touch and go here. So you never know.
Sure.
But
Okay. Okay. And I think I wasn't sure too much about Joe Thomas. I'm really not that convinced about him. But again, they were working together, and it got Brian in the studio, and I think they clicked. And Melinda certainly was very, very keen on Joe. And I think it was a time when the Beach Boys were looking at another. There was another Beach Boys album in the offing, wasn't there? Yeah.
and
But
so
prior to that, in the late 90s, there was a Beach Boys album. Brian was supposedly half looking at another Beach Boys album,
okay, I
and Joe Thomas was involved. Sean O'Hagan was involved.
okay.
Sean went over to meet Brian, didn't he? Did you know that? He went over
Oh
to,
no, I didn't know that actually. Huh.
yeah. He went over. They had meetings and things, and he actually played with them live as well.
Okay, that's really
Yeah.
cool. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
sometime we can talk more about that. But yeah, it's a sort of part of Brian and the Beach Boys history. I think when Brian heard Hawaii, he really sort of thought, oh, the album Hawaii. But anyway, we'll maybe talk about that some other time. But yeah, I think Joe Thomas then sort of came in and sort of directed Brian more to a sort of adult contemporary album
Right.
sort of direction, and Melinda liked that, and so that's what then happened.
Gotcha. So I know that there was at least some Beach Boys or Beach Boys related recording going on in the
Yeah,
90s because things like Soul Searchin' were
yeah,
recorded for that. You're Still a Mystery,
absolutely.
things like
That was
that.
one. Yeah,
So
that was one of them for
some
sure.
of them popped up in other places too, like Soul Searching made it to Getting In Over My Head in the early 2000s. We don't
Yep.
have a lot of archival stuff, and indeed the first two that popped into my mind, of course, you can find on Made in
Oh, you've got.
California.
Oh, I wish I'd got my box sets here. It's a wonderful
So
box set, isn't it?
yeah, it is. I mean, it has its flaws. I did a whole giant video on it. It was so fun. It's one of my favorite videos of my own. But
I must look at that
it,
one.
oh yeah, I loved making it. I got some great comments on it too. And
I
by the
must
way,
have a look.
everybody, make sure you comment on our video today too. But yeah, it's missing a few things here and there that it probably should have had. But overall, a lot of good stuff and still a lot of exclusive stuff too. That like
Absolutely.
if you don't have this set, you can't get certain things. So, but yeah, in
It's
terms of
probably still available. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't
No.
think it's been in print.
Yeah.
But it might be different in Europe too. So
Yeah.
I don't want to
Sure.
say
Maybe.
something and be wrong, but yeah, I know some of those at least pseudo Beach Boys outtakes ended up in different places, like Getting In Over My Head.
Do you want to talk about that one now? We can pick up others. I mean, I like that album.
This is
Again,
one that, I didn't listen to it very much. It was probably one of my least listened to Brian Wilson ones, but I do like this one.
two
Oh,
albums in 1 year.
what was the other one? The Christmas
Smile,
album? Oh,
Smile,
that's right. That's true,
Smile at
actually.
the end of 2004. It was almost like the old days when they used to do two albums a year,
Yeah, or sometimes more. In
sometimes more.
1964, there were four of them, so.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And it's still Smile. We could have a whole video on that easily, couldn't we?
Oh,
My
easily.
goodness. I just, I was playing some bits over the weekend, and I said to Sue yesterday, I said it's the best thing ever. I just it's a masterpiece. And the sessions, yeah, yeah. It's wonderful, guys. You've got to listen to this album. And Brian and Van Dyke sat down together, and there were some lyrics missing, weren't there? Or some lyrics that they recreated. Van Dyke wrote some new lyrics.
Yep, yep. And then some of the songs got like new titles. Things were adjusted so Brian could foresee or visualize, I guess,
Yeah,
Smile the way he kind of wanted to back in the
absolutely,
60s. And that was perfect too. And those who
for
say
sure.
it's his magnum opus, they're not wrong.
Oh, there's no doubt for me. Yeah, and I hope that gets back in the charts because Pet Sounds is back in the charts, I believe.
Yep. And then I
Sure.
think granted, this one charts almost every summer, but I know a
Yeah.
lot of people jump into Sounds of Summer. And of course, there's the fancy extended version now. Mine's downstairs, but
Okay.
yeah, and this is a great place for people to jump into the Beach Boys.
Totally.
I don't know
Totally.
about you, Jamie, but my first Beach Boys album was a Greatest Hits one, too. Only mine was that one.
Oh, right. Okay. That's not that long ago. Well, perhaps it is.
So,
Lovely. Well, my very first album from the Beach Boys was the Best of the Beach Boys Volume 1 UK version, which
okay.
was different to the US version because we had God Only Knows and Sloop John B were on Best of the Beach Boys Volume 1, whereas they weren't on the US version.
Yep.
I wore it out. I just played it and played it and played it. I heard it at a friend's house. I'll mention his name because he always wants his name mentioned. Nigel from Leicester, my home city. We were at school together. I went to his home. He played the album. I went, "What have I been missing all my life?" My older brother, was playing a lot of Beatles, Tamla Motown. Yeah, I loved it all, and some of the Kinks and some of those other groups, some of the British groups. He liked who did he like? A couple of other British bands, Hollies. He liked the Hollies, and I like the Hollies. I love their harmonies for sure. Some of the others I thought they were typical British sort of wasn't me. And then I heard this surfing type of music with all the harmonies. and God Only Knows and Wouldn't It Be Nice? I don't think that was on volume one. No, it wasn't. That was on volume two. But anyway, Blown Away. Wore It Out.
Yeah.
Then got volume two. Then got volume three. Volume two had Wouldn't It Be Nice and Girl from New York City. Volume three had a couple of live cuts on there. Darling was on there. Oh my goodness, I got all those three. Then I started really delving into
Yeah.
Smiley Smile and, Surf's
Perfect.
Up and
Yeah, I have all three of the British LPs, but I didn't think to bring them up today. But
no,
I
no point, no
the
need, no
the
need.
blurb, liner notes on the back of Volume 3 talk about how "Do It Again" is the new
Yeah,
Beach Boys thing and how great it is, which it is. But
it
then
is.
it says,
Yeah,
because of "Do It Again," those unusual experiments, things like Smiley Smile and Wild Honey, that people are going to forget about those because "Do It Again" is how the Beach Boys are supposed to sound. And it's like
yeah.
that didn't age particularly well. Maybe that was the
No,
feeling in 1968, but that
I think you're
proved not
right.
to be correct. So,
Absolutely right. It proved not to be correct, exactly.
mhm.
And there's now a lot of great fans of Smiley Smile and Friends is a lovely, beautiful album. And I know you're doing some work on that on a video, aren't you? Some
Yep, yep. My Wake the World video will be up. Actually, it'll be up before this one's up, so make sure you check that one out if you haven't. But
Sure. Well, yeah, and that was Brian's favorite, wasn't it? And Yanni's favorite, my musician friend here
oh,
in
okay.
Spain, her favorite Beach Boys album. And so, I mean, just look at the cover. The cover gives you that sort of just it's warm and the colors are lovely, gentle.
Yeah, and with one exception, every song on there's very gentle too. Of course, the big Transcendental Meditation finale. I know Steve Lewis and you've done videos with him, I've done several with him. He and I both agree that Transcendental Meditation doesn't quite fit the album.
Yeah,
But
I think you're right. I think if we'd had a couple of other tracks which came a little later, but I still like Transcendental Meditation because I love the backing track.
okay.
And I just, yeah, I quite dig it actually. I know a lot of people go, oh, but no, I like it
Well, and you can find that backing track, horns and all, in Made
on
in
there.
California too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
What a
definitely
genius.
yeah, definitely really unique stuff. I mean, there isn't another song that sounds quite like it in the Beach Boys catalog, at least not
No,
one I can think of.
no, I love it. I love Transcendental. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. So cool. Like cool, cool water.
There you
My
go.
goodness, but, there's such a wealth out there, Alex. Where do we could talk for days on it, couldn't we? I mean, every album you could talk for about 2 hours or 3 hours on. Of
We can always do a part three if we need to. So
course we
watchers,
can.
if you want, comment below, do part three. We can
Please,
do
yeah,
it.
we can go on forever and bore the socks off if you want, guys. But yeah, so yeah, and there were a couple of tracks, a couple of albums as well, but the two live ones, Pet Sounds and Live at the Roxy. And Brian was fantastic live. Yeah, there they
Oh,
are.
absolutely. This is one of my most listened to Brian albums. I think it's maybe the most underrated one
Yeah,
because he does such a great job. And he's even doing the vocals for the songs he didn't do on the original Pet Sounds too, like That's
yeah,
Not Me. And he does a
yeah,
fantastic job on them
doesn't it?
too.
It really
And he has a
does.
lot of fun bantering with the crowd. You know, he says, "Hey, if
Yeah,
you can yell louder than me, I'll give all of you a dime." And they have a
yeah,
yelling contest, things like that. Really fun, just Brianisms.
absolutely. Did you manage to see it? Did you see him doing the Pet Sounds?
No, I didn't see him during the Pet Sounds tour. Did a
Okay,
few Pet Sounds tours, and actually, I just missed the one. They were still selling the shirts from it at the first Brian Wilson concert
okay,
I went to, but I
okay.
never saw a tour just for Pet Sounds. But I've seen him do several of these live at different
Sure,
shows. So,
sure. We saw
and
him
you,
in London. Was at the Royal Albert Hall, I think. And I was standing there taking some photos, and I just thought, I can't believe this is happening. Can't believe this is happening. That Brian is performing Pet Sounds Live. It was just like a miracle was happening in front of us, And I shall cherish that always. It was fantastic. And then more live Brian, more for you guys in the States when he did like the Live in Roxy album. And there's some new tracks on there too. He had some new tracks, didn't he? Yeah.
Yep, there's a lot of good stuff and a lot of very unique stuff back home.
Yeah,
He does kind of a joke cover of the Bare Naked Ladies, Brian Wilson, which is really funny and
isn't
sounds
it?
really good. I wish
It
he'd done
does
the full
sound
song, but
absolutely, yeah,
you know,
for sure.
but he
And
did do that.
the first time, did he do the first time?
Yep.
This Isn't
Uh,
Love?
Yep, both of those are here. What else is kind of unique? This Whole World, we have seen that other places. Till I
Yeah,
Die, don't see that too much.
no,
Lay Down Burden, of course, from
yeah,
Imagination. Be My
yeah,
Baby, one of his big live go-tos, which I don't think he ever did on a studio album other than the
no,
little thing with Mike Love in the 80s, but that's more
yeah.
Mike Love than
All My
Brian.
Love, yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, like he does Love and Mercy, of course. Yeah, now I know this one has a weird release history because like every country got different bonus tracks. Like the Japanese recording, I think, has like 20 songs, and the bass one only has 13, 12 or 13. And this is
yeah.
kind of an in the middle one. I forget where I found this, but
I can never understand why the Japanese always get more bonus tracks. The Japanese versions of all the albums I know have got more bonus tracks than any, or bonus tracks that we don't have at all.
I think the answer lies somewhere near Japan.
Okay. That one wasn't on the list, I don't think.
But yeah, that I don't know. And I know that the Japanese sometimes get CDs for albums that weren't released, on CD elsewhere in the world, like the Beach Boys instrumental compilation. That's
Yeah.
digital, I think, for you or I. But in Japan,
Yeah.
it got a physical media release. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, dead cool. I must look that up actually, because I don't think I've got that.
Yeah, I know I don't have it. Someday I'll download it, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
in
sure.
theory, we have all the recordings. We could make a playlist, but it'd be nice to have the actual proper release.
Because you're a young guy, um, how do you feel about physical and download? I know we're deviating a little bit, but I mean, everybody wants everything on their phones, and everybody wants, Spotify and everything like that. How do you feel about that? As a quick,
Strictly a physical media person because
yay, high
I've
five,
I
boom.
don't know if that worked, but close enough. But I consider it the power of ownership. I have
Oh
this, I
yeah,
can listen to it whenever I want. It can't
abs
change unless it gets
absolutely,
damaged.
totally.
But people who only stream, be it music, TV shows, films, whatever, tons of ads that you can't control.
Yep,
They
yep,
can take it down and it's
sure.
gone unless
It's
you saved
gone.
it somehow. Yeah.
Good
So
point. Very good point.
yeah, so
Yeah,
I've
and
always
there it is.
always been a physical media person. So
I'm so glad, and I hope the young people. I know that vinyl's come back quite a bit in a very big way, but here in Spain it's expensive, and people just want everything for free. They say, "Oh, Spotify, or can you send it to me? Is it on YouTube?" Hang on a minute. Yeah, we might have a couple of tracks you can have, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so I mean, I've got all this stuff behind me, but at home in England, I've got boxes and boxes of vinyl
hey,
and
there
more
you go.
CDs and more CDs. Yeah, may it
Well,
long continue, my friend.
it's becoming more of a niche market, but I don't think it'll ever truly go away because
No,
you gotta have the physical copy and
you
something you
have.
can show to people. How
I
boring would
agree.
it be if we just sat in two empty rooms and
Can't
nothing
stand it at
behind us?
all.
Yeah.
No. And when I say to someone, you put a CD on in your living room or a vinyl, and you've got the perfect ambience. You're not plugging your phone into something, and then it goes onto an advert. Oh, what? No.
Can't get rid of the ads no matter how hard you try.
Oh,
They're always
terrible.
there.
So
So,
it does get us onto getting in over my head because there were some guests on that,
yep.
which when I heard about that surprised me.
My favorite guest, well, I guess you would say Carl Wilson makes a posthumous guest appearance, of course, for
Yeah,
Soul Searching.
doesn't doesn't
And
he?
then we have what, Paul McCartney for A Friend Like You.
Yep.
What does it say?
Nice little
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, I like that song. I actually listened to that. That was one of the ones I listened to not long after
Yeah.
Brian passed. Elton John's on, is it How Could We Still Be Dancing?
Yeah, the first track.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's what that is. And then who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody.
Guitarist.
Is it Eric Clapton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that Desert Drive? Was that
Uh,
Desert Drive he was on that one, I think,
y-
maybe?
it's odd because the packaging doesn't specify. You would think it would, unless there was maybe a hype sticker, and mine just didn't have that. But
Pretty sure it was
Okay.
Desert Drive. He would. Oh no, it wasn't. City Blues. City Blues.
Let me see if it says real quick here. Special guest performance, Eric Clapton on City Blues, and we got the other three. And of course, we have some of Brian's usual collaborators, the late great Jeffrey Foskett,
Yeah,
Andy Paley did percussion, and a lot of names we would recognize from even today, Brian and now Al's kind of touring ensemble.
really
So
great.
Darian Saranha, Probin Gregory. I've met Probin Gregory. He was super nice. He signed a set list for me and everything.
Did he? Lovely man.
Really, really nice guy. I think he's the only one of the backing team of Brian's that I've met. But
Gentleman. Yeah,
oh,
real gent.
he was super nice. And I met Bobby Figueroa. I've met Matt
Okay.
Jardine.
Okay.
And other
Great.
than that, not too many. And I met the new Beach Boys drummer, John Bolton. I always want to call him Jim Bolton, but Jim Bolton was the baseball player. John Bolton's the drummer, and
Jumbo. Okay.
he was super nice too. So
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, yeah. I heard him talking about all the songs he had to learn. Yeah, yeah. That was very nice. But there's some nice tracks on that album. Really nice tracks.
oh, there are, and this is why I need to listen to more. I think as this was the last or one of the last Brian albums I needed to get. I just think that's why I haven't listened to it as much as the
Okay.
others, and I need to.
I love Fairy Tale. I love the melody. And the harmonies on Fairy Tale, even though it was originally recorded as another track on the Paley sessions, I think, or I forget the name of the original track. But it's a wonderful song. It's a wonderful song. One of Brian's classics, I think.
Yeah. Oh, hey, speaking of fairy tales, I thought of something we could discuss
Oh
for
yeah.
today. You
Yeah.
might know it. It glows in the dark and it
Man,
floats outside your window. The
incredible. But
the
Brian
thoughts.
solo. Brian and
Yeah,
Riley. Brian and Jack Riley.
pretty much.
Jack Riley was doing the narration, I think.
Yep.
Brian did some silly voice, crazy voices, and he wrote the music and everything.
Hello, I'm the
Yeah,
Pied Piper.
yeah. And they wanted it to be a double. It was supposed to be a double album, wasn't it, Holland?
I think so, at least at one time. I know the production release, I will show the booklet here, was a bit
Yeah,
confusing. You know, there were different international copies with different songs, and We
sure.
Got Love was in one, and Sail on Sailor on the
That's
other.
right.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
I think they wanted to put We Got Love and a couple of other tracks, plus Fairy Tale. I think it was a Fairy Tale was going to be, I think it was going to be one side of the double or something. And then the record company said, no, 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 we're not going to do that. No, 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 the Fairy Tale, no, we're just going to put it in as a bonus EP type of thing.
Yeah, and then I have to look at, I think it was the really fancy Analog Productions reissue from like maybe 10 years ago. I think
Okay.
it did Holland as a double EP and the E or as a double LP, excuse me, and the EP was all one side. Kind of
Yeah.
that same idea. I think that's how they did it. I don't
Okay.
remember if my Sail on Sailor vinyl does that. I don't think it does because it still
No.
comes with the EP. I'd have to
Yeah.
check.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, it would do. Yeah. Yeah. I
But
know there's going back to Getting Over My Head.
oh,
I'd just like to say thanks to David Lee for the liner notes because they were terrific as well in the booklet. David did a cracking job on that. I was reading, just having a look through the other day, and yeah, he did a lovely job.
yeah, so definitely a good one. I think this one's out of print, if I remember
Is
right.
it? That's a
I
shame.
think
Well, it'll come
so.
back. I'd probably come back in, I would have thought. I'd have thought so.
Oh, let's see. We got a little bit of time left.
But Present Smile, of course, we've talked a little bit of quite a lot about.
Yep. I
It's the
mean,
top of the tree forever for me, always will be. Yeah. And I think there's still some little bits and pieces of Smile still out there, actually, or in the vaults that they never
oh,
used.
absolutely. I'm sure there are. There's probably bootlegs that have stuff that, you know,
Yeah.
we can't get anywhere else, but the quality, of course, might leave something to be desired. But I forgot to mention, have you ever listened to Brian's last live album, Brian Wilson and Friends? A lot of people forget this one even exists.
No, I haven't. I haven't got that at all, actually. I've heard some of it online, but I haven't. I should.
It's really good. He does some songs
Wow.
from No Peer Pressure, so we get like The Right
Okay.
Time and Half Moon Bay, and it has a concert film.
Oh,
I was
wow,
gonna
that's
watch,
brilliant.
yeah, I was gonna watch the film because it has a different track list than the album does, which is kind of weird because you might want to just listen to one of the songs, but you can't do it. put the video on, but still really, really,
I must look that up. We must have had it in the UK, but I think I was probably so involved in other things that I knew
yeah.
about it and heard some, but I ought to get that for sure.
Yep. And Joe Thomas produced it and also directed the filming of the concert too. So,
Okay. Okay.
but but yeah,
Yeah,
definitely a lot of
brilliant.
cool stuff. And this one it doesn't get mentioned very often too. It
No,
kind of gets overlooked. So I thought I better bring it up now since we
glad
talked
you have.
about it.
And the quality, what do you think of the quality of the
Really
songs?
good. It's
Yeah.
pretty sharp, both the picture and the video components
Oh,
there. But yeah, I really thought that was good. And there's the man himself.
and what date was that? What date was that, Alex? When did that come out? Remind me.
Copyright 2014. So it might have been
Okay.
out before No Peer Pressure was released.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about No Peer Pressure last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. It's a wonderful album. No peer pressure.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, and he does a nice job
Yeah.
doing some of those live.
That's super. Yeah, good old Brian. My goodness, didn't he emerge? He really emerged so much. Incredible, really. And he even did a Christmas album, as you know. I
Yep,
mean, the Christmas album was a lovely surprise, and what a lovely album that was.
it is true. And he didn't just dig out all of the old Beach Boys
Nope.
recordings and redo them. He made sure there was new stuff, which I really
Yep.
liked. That album I actually put with all my Christmas stuff, so it's not up here with my other
No, no,
Brian
no.
CDs, but
I think mine's
but
there somewhere, probably. I
I
don't
guess
know.
I can. Oh, yep, I can see yours.
Can you?
Um, yes, I'll hold up, or at least thought I could see. Oh, yep, I see it behind you. It's under your smile book. But I'll hold
Okay.
up.
But all the new songs again were the ones I cherished. I know he did covers of the originals, which were nice, slightly different arrangements, but the new songs were I treasure them all. They're really great.
And he did a nice job on them too, and
Yeah, he
Christmassy
did.
and What I Want for Christmas, all that stuff. Really good.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in the studio, when you see him on YouTube in the studio with the guys, goodness me, he was working him hard and he was on fire.
That's what we want to see.
We sure did. And it was absolutely brilliant. And that brings us on to Lucky Old Sun.
And we mentioned Lucky Old Sun very briefly last time, but actually one I made sure to listen to on here was Southern California, the big closer,
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
playing with his brothers again and all that kind of stuff. And
amazing.
that now it feels even more poignant than it did then.
Yeah, it
But
sure
yeah,
really does. He's in
yeah,
heaven
but
singing with them. I hope he's in heaven. They're all doing some three-part, four-part harmonies. Yeah, yeah. And there's the one with the bonus. Is that the one with the bonus tracks?
this has bonus making of the album and live performances of Good Kind of Love and Forever She'll Be My Surfer Girl. I know there's bonuses like oh he does
Yeah,
one with
I'll have a
shoot,
look.
if you think of it, is it What a Wonderful World, I want to say. He did it with somebody, it was a duet. I forget who he did it with.
Yeah, that's right. Sue, can you read those for me?
It was it Carole King?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Carol
yeah.
King came round to Brian's to do it's a bonus tracks. Sue, can you read the bonus tracks? Which I can't because I can't read them because I've got contact lenses and I can't read. But
Oh, okay.
good kind of love? No, was it good kind of no? What's at the end? Yeah, good kind of love.
I'm into something good,
I'm into something
Oh,
good.
that's it. I'm into something.
I'm into something good. And I
just
think
like me and you.
just like me and you. Okay.
Oh.
And Carol popped round to Brian's to do some singing, to do some recording. You probably know this. And she started off and he says, Carol, you're flatting. And she went, you what? He says, you're flat. And she listened to herself and she thought, yeah, he's right.
Mhm.
I'm flatting.
Well, Brian would know you didn't argue with the maestro, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I think they had a big hug, you know. It was a very, very warm session they had, you know, really great. I think she turned up in a little car. I forget the story now. She was drove up to his lovely place in this small little car. I don't know what it was now, but they had a great time. But yeah, he said to her, you know, Carol, come on, you know. A man to see him perform. Did you see him perform live to the Lucky Old Sun or not?
No, I don't think I've ever seen him do anything from the Lucky Old
No.
Sun, which is a
Okay.
shame. Because I always liked Midnight's Another Day.
Oh,
And
it's
this is
incredible.
the one where they do Can't Wait Too Long. We get the closest thing to
Yeah,
an official, proper release version of that.
absolutely.
So that's always a
which
big plus.
which was a post-Smile recording, wasn't it?
Yep. And you can find bits and pieces on about 30 different releases there from the time. So,
Yeah, yeah. But I think we saw him in Bournemouth, and that's where I met Melinda, as I said last time.
yep.
And it was an impeccable performance. The band were on fire, and that's another thing, the emotional security that he had was, I mean, he had everything he needed. So confident, so jubilant, happy with these new recordings. It was almost like a mini Smile. And the band were great. And without them, he wouldn't have got there either. Yeah.
Jamie, I hate to say it, but we are almost out of time for
Oh
today.
no. And
Yep.
we've still got a few more to do, but
Well,
maybe we'll do a volume three. How long have we got,
oh,
Alex?
we got less than a minute now, so we better say
Okay,
our
let's
goodbyes.
do volume three because we've got Disney and Gershwin and other bits to do, haven't we? So we'll do and maybe another one sometime. Yeah.
Sounds good to me. And everyone, make sure you comment your favorite Brian Wilson albums below, and we'll see you later.
We'll see you later and have a great vacation because you're going off soon.
Yep, I'll be in Europe, going to go to Holland and try to find me a magic transistor. We'll see what's going on with that. So,
Fantastic, Alex. I'll send you a
all
few
right.
places to visit.
Perfect. All right.
Nebworth
Hey,
and London, anyway.
yep. Hey, so long, everybody.
Bye, guys. Take care. Bye. Bye.